I want to see big robots argue and fight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Emily, would that like help you out, or are you just never gonna be into it?
Never gonna be into it.
Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it.
If I'm gonna watch giant things fight at each other, I want it to be a giant ape and a giant lizard.
So let's roll right into that. Go ahead, lead us off.
I mean, what is there to say? It's Godzilla fighting King Kong.
Who are you rooting for?
Godzilla. Or King Kong. Don't care. I'm going to need to see the movie first. I'm going to have to see who appeals to me while I'm watching it. But, man, I wish theaters were open. Because watching this on my TV by myself is not the ideal way to watch Godzilla and King Kong beating the crap out of each other. That's
definitely like I hear you.
I'm going to see that shit on AMC. I'm going to support my stock.
Apparently for $47 you can own Blockbuster.
Really?
It's like 11 cents a share. I'm thinking
There's only one Blockbuster left on Earth.
It's trading for 11 cents, someone told me, or I saw on Twitter. I don't know if it was a joke or not. But like shit, you own the company for like $3.50.
I wonder if if Redbox is the Blockbuster company.
No, they're broke.
Oh.
But I want to go back. I want to go back to Emily's point.
Like,
okay. When we used to talk, when we talked about like, if you had a choice between theater and your home, like, remember we went down the list. It's like, oh, Mike's a huge Matrix fan, so he'll go to the theater. Like, I agree with Emily. Although, like, we know it's going to be cheesy, but it's still like you need to see these 60-story monsters bang each other in the face, like on a huge surround sound Dolby Atmos like experience. Like, it's got to be, and it sucks that, like, number one, I'm a child, and like I probably wouldn't wait to see it in the theater, like if it's like on my HBO Max like right now. And B, like, we don't even have the opportunity, like where we live, the three of us, East Coast peeps, the heart of the disease. Well, that's not true. Shout out to Arizona and California. I hope they're doing well. And we have a lot of friends in California. No one in Arizona that I know of, but hope those guys are safe. But behind Arizona and California, man, like, we got it bad. So we're not going to the movie theater anytime soon. Would you go, Emily, if it was open?
Yeah. Especially if like the Alamo or someplace had it and I could do, dinner and cocktails while I watched it.
I've never done that. I want to do that once.
Oh, it's nice. I fucking love it. It's my favorite way to watch movies. It
is pretty awesome. There's one, not like it matters, but there's one in Battery Park, Johnny, if we were able to meet up in the city, where like they have waitress service and everything in Manhattan.
How does that work? Like, if you're watching the movie, like, she bothers you?
This before.
Well, places do it differently, but like at Alamo and Nighthawk and stuff, like, yes, like they come by before the movie and take your order if you want to do it that way. But then if you want anything during the show, there's a little, like, because there, there's tables in front of you, kind of like those old school, like, school desks. And there's a little thing in, like, at the top where you can put like a little, it's basically a little index card, and you write down what you want and you stick it upright. And then the aisles are wide enough that they can look down them and see if anybody has a card out. And then they rush by, bent over and grab it. Sure. I found like it's maybe a little distracting at first, the first time you do it, but you just sort of like, it all just becomes part of the thing. And I barely even notice when they're going by anymore.
Plus, you're in those big stadium theaters where they do it. Like, the screen is huge, and the rows are huge. You're kind of, like, propped up a little bit in your aisle, so when they kneel down, they don't really bother you. It's not like one of those tight theaters, where, like, your knees are hitting the guy's seat in front of you.
Yeah, they're hard to find around me. Both of those, the tiny theaters and the service theaters.
Yeah.
All right, who's my Game of Thrones fan? Emily, right?
I mean,
I'm
I
alright.
bailed out after a couple seasons, but
Oh, that's not you then. I watched them all. Shh.
I've seen them all. I didn't read all the books, but I've seen them all.
All right, so we're getting a prequel series, so that's cool. The Tales of Dunk and Egg are based on the same titled novellas from creator George R. Martin. So, Em, you're not going to watch it? You bailed out?
I mean, I bailed out on Game of Thrones. I might check out some of this, or there's one of the other shows already got canceled before it even got off the ground, but they're still working on stuff. I'll take it on show by show basis. I'll check it out. This is like, I don't know, like 100 or so years before Game of Thrones. I read all the Game of Thrones. I read all of the Song of Ice and Fire main books. I never read any of the Dunk and Egg ones. So.
All right. And
Who's Dunk and Egg again?
Like, one of them is like one of the Targaryen dudes, and then the other one is like a hedge knight who accompanies him.
All right, in similar genre, Lord of the Rings is getting another show, so that's pretty cool. Mike, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I honestly don't know that much about it, but that Amazon got the rights to the J.R.R. Tolkien books, and they're going to do Lord of the Rings. I think they're going to do like from Fellowship to Return of the King, if I'm not mistaken. It's not like a prequel with like the Silmarillion or anything. So I feel like it's like a reboot as a show. Am I wrong?
No.
I think it's the return of Sauron is what the clip says here.
Oh, so it's a prequel.
No, return of. Well, yeah, he did return twice, technically. I guess he's returning a third time.
Well, the second time he returned is what
we saw.
Everything I'd heard before saying that was saying that the show was before Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but like Sauron is back already in Fellowship of the Ring. Like the Eye is already on the top of Mordor, is it not?
Right, that's the return. So I think he returned again. So this is strike 3.
I mean, that's the first I heard. Like, yeah, that's definitely the first I heard this, because everything before was saying it's set in like thousands of years before Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like when he's like jacked up in that wraith armor and he's got the ring on and his finger is the size of a man. When he's just like when he comes back like that, because that's when he came back, because he was dead before that. That's why Aragorn's ancestor was fighting him.
All right, so this dude just like won't go away.
He's like Palpatine. He's the epitome of the devil. He's like the devil. You know,
Terrible.
It always comes
Terrible.
back.
So just since you brought up Palpatine, so everyone at work knows I'm this huge Star Wars fan, and so someone came up to me. He's like, "Yo, I finally saw the Rise of Skywalker, man." I was like, "Oh, cool. Like, what'd you think?" And he's like, "How the fuck did he come back?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've given up." And they're like, "No, seriously." And I'm like, "Okay, so do you want the canon answer?" And then he's like, "Yeah, well, yeah." And I'm like, so as he was falling down we'll call it elevator shaft, he cast his spirit out into like something, and then he just kind of like waited till we made 6 more movies and then came back. And he's like, "Oh, okay. With the Force, right?" I'm like, "I guess." Like, and he's like, "You don't like it anymore?" And I'm like, I will always love it. But it's like that relative you love, but just Thanksgiving and Christmas. me and the sequel trilogy are on a Thanksgiving and Christmas type relationship right now. Funerals and weddings. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Just confusing the masses. Crickets.
I'm just what sequel trilogy talk to me is just I don't know. I'm over it. My brain goes dead now. I get numb.
Weddings and funerals, Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's my best way of. It will always be a part of me. I will always love it.
I'm
But-
psyched for Star Wars TV though.
Yeah. I'll give everything a try. All right, so before we talk about that, okay, here's something I know Emily and I are very excited about. Sandman is getting a live action show.